delicate costumes made by those very female embroiderers. As they get older, there will inevitably be fewer handmade costumes, and new costumes will have to be replaced by machine-made ones. Here's Zhou Yingzi, a painting holder of Chinese embroidery techniques.
I remember in the early days, all the girls, mothers, even grandmothers in the village would be doing needlework in the sun on a cold winter's day and under a shelter on a hot summer's day. That was the normal scene in our village, and that was the kind of atmosphere. Now there are far fewer. The village that I lived in when I was small is now being demolished, and I am very sad about this.
Zhenghu County is no longer what it once was, although there are still more than 300 embroidery shops in the so-called Home of Embroidery. Not as many visitors come. Here's Yao Jianping.
You can judge an embroidery work from its richness in technique and the quality of the materials. A piece of thread can be divided into more than 30 or even 60 pieces. And the artistic effect can also be reflected by the mesmerizing effect. The material of the silk thread and the weird stitches begin.
Just like the song, once upon a time, people lived a slow life where the things like the sunrise, sunset, carriages, and mail were slow, and people loved just one person in a lifetime. Those female embroiderers have also devoted their lifetimes to creating beauty with their patience, concentration, and the warmth of their fingers. The value of handmade embroidery lies in the toil of our ancestors and has inherited cultural recognition. Perhaps there will be a time in life when we are ourselves willing to slow down a little and appreciate the beauty of what they left behind.
See China.
Meet its people.
Share the experience.
Life in China. You're listening to Life Up Close. Tianhou Palace is one of the oldest architectural complexes in urban Qingdao, the coastal resort in eastern China. According to history and local folklore, Tianhou Palace was established before the city of Qingdao. First built during the Ming Dynasty in 1467, the palace is the center of the city's nautical traditions, Mazu culture, and local customs. Our reporter Wang Ling has more.
Tianhou Palace now stands in the scenic area of Zhanqiao Pier of Qingdao's southern shore. When it was built some 500 years ago, it featured 3 Shengmu halls where the goddess of Mazu was worshipped, and the 2 side halls where Dragon King and the God of Wealth were respectively enshrined. The palace was rebuilt and enlarged in the following century, becoming the city's center for both religious ceremonies and cultural celebrations. Yang Naichen is a local folklorist.
一开始叫天妃宫，后来逐渐升级，明代人皇帝给加封了，叫天后。
Originally, the palace was named Tianfei Palace. Later on, an imperial title was conferred to the palace as Tianhou Palace. It was very busy, especially during the Spring Festival, when all Qingdao residents came to burn incense for good fortune on the first day of the Chinese Lunar New Year. Along with hosting religious events, it was also where the city's biggest temple fair was held.
Throughout the 20th century, Tianhou Palace had been rebuilt several times. In 1996, it was renovated by Qingdao municipal government and developed into Qingdao Folk Customers Museum, which was formally opened in 1998. Xu Jianmin is curator of the museum.
It has been more than 10 years since the museum opened to the public. There were problems with leakage, painting peeling off, and the decorative drawings also blurred. So we had a thorough renovation of the 500-year-old Opera Theater in 2013. And in the future, we will carry out repairs on other buildings of the palace.
Now Tianhou Palace covers an approximate area of 4,000 square meters, with the traditional design of both front and backyard. The building complex consists of 16 halls and more than 80 rooms. As the oldest architectural complex of Qingdao, the palace houses more than 100 cultural relics, which showcase the local history and the rich traditions. As Yang Naichen explains, the cultural importance of Tianhou Palace is closely related to Qingdao's nautical history.
天后历史上确有钱，他精灵叫灵魔嘛，他生
The
在
goddess worshipped in Tianhou Palace, namely Tianhou, was believed to be a real person. Born in 960 during the Song Dynasty, this woman was named Lin Mo. The legend has it that Lin Mo was a kind-hearted and brave girl who was always ready to give an open hand. She offered medical services to fellow islanders and was deeply esteemed by the locals for her benevolent deeds. After she died, people made her into a deity and built temples to worship her. In southern China, she is revered as Mazu, while in North China, we worship her as Tianhou.
The Chinese goddess of the sea comes from folk beliefs. It is said that Lin Mo was different from other children when she was born. She didn't cry at birth, and so her parents gave her the name Mo, which is the word silent in Chinese. In her early teens, Lin began to burn incense and chant sutras. At the age of 16, she was given a bronze talisman by an immortal, and she ascended to the heavens and became an immortal herself. As a teenage girl, she could already tell fortunes and forecast the weather. With her capabilities, Lin Mo saved fishermen from danger when they sailed in turbulent waters. At the age of 28, Lin Mo ascended to the Meifeng Peak, where she became a deity. After that, she roamed about the country, continued to rescue and help distressed fishermen at sea. Known as Lin and her benevolence, the local seafarers built a temple in her hometown, Meizhou Island in Fujian, and since then she was worshipped as Mazu. Mazu belief and customers take virtue, benevolence, and love as its core values. As the most influential goddess of the sea in China, Mazu is at the center of a host of beliefs and customers throughout the country's coastal areas. As a historical port city, Qingdao also has nautical time, and Mazu is an important part of the local culture. Yang Naichen explains.
这个马祖像最好的材料就是用个香樟木，上这个马祖老家。
The statue of Mazu we enshrined in Tianhou Palace is made of a fine piece of camphor wood that we found in Mazu's hometown in Fujian. We invited the best craftsmen there for carving and decorating the statue, and held an eye-opening ceremony at the local Mazu temple. Right after we shipped the statue back to Qingdao, there was a snowfall, which is an auspicious symbol for the city's winter time.
There are two important ceremonies paying respect to Mazu that take place at the Tianhou Palace each year. One is on the birthday of Mazu in the spring, and the other is in the autumn, which falls on the date she became immortal. In 2009, Mazu belief and customs were included on the world's intangible cultural heritage list, and now up to 200 million people in over 200 countries and regions across the globe are followers of the sea goddess, making Mazu an important part of cultural identity for Chinese worldwide.
The Mongolian vocal art of kumei singing is a style in which a singer produces harmony with two vocal parts. The vocal art is regarded as a central element representing Mongolian culture and remains a strong symbol of ethnic identity. This oral tradition, however, has long been practiced exclusively by men, as it is believed women are not physically suitable for singing kumei. Although custom and superstition have discouraged women from throat singing, recently this taboo is breaking down. There are now numerous excellent female throat singers. Let's follow our reporter Wang Ling again to the Inner Mongolia province region to visit one such woman.
singing in which a single performer produces 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 pitches simultaneously. Known as Hallin chor among Mongolians, Hallin means fruit, while chor stands for harmony. As performing, the singer starts with a low drone, then by subtle manipulations of his vocal tract and keen listening, he breaks up the sound. This amplifies one or more overtones enough so that they can be heard as additional pitches while the drone continues at a lower volume. The centuries-old vocal art is thought to have originated among herders, mimicking the sounds of animals, water, and the wind. The practice developed alongside animist beliefs that all natural objects have souls or spirits, whose power humans can harness through mimicry. A mixture of husky chanting and low growling, Kume has been long considered unsuitable for women to perform. But nowadays, some female artists dare to challenge their physical limits. Han is one of them.
接触这个呼麦呢，我是1999年参加蒙古族青年舞伴奏合唱团。It was in 1999 that I first heard Kume performed. I was in the capella choir back then, and the Kume artist from the Mongolia People's Republic was invited to join us for studio recording. When I heard the miraculous harmonic chanting produced by one single performer, I was captivated by it and fell in love with it right away. From the moment on, I knew I wanted to be a Kume singer.
Yet Kume is fiendishly difficult to practice, especially for women singers, as they have different vocal cords from their male counterparts. The basic structure of Kume consists of a continuous bass section and overtone of higher pitch. In singing, one needs to use the vocal cords, the nasal and oral cavities, and even the thorax to vibrate the current of air to flow between the three. It normally takes male singers 3 to 4 years to master these skills, and the mixture of low sustained drone, quiver, and hoarse voice makes it almost impossible job for women singers. That is exactly how Sui Lhasa Han felt when she started learning Kume.
我刚才是那个什么的上就低音呼麦的话，老师在那个钢琴上给我们演一个。I even found it impossible to sustain the whistling of a particular note. For instance, if the teacher played the note of sol on piano, I could be able to follow it with chanting the note sol. Without the piano, I just couldn't do it. It took me a really long time to practice repeatedly before I could manipulate movements of my larynx and tongue, and control my breath to make sharp, rhythmic inhalations and exhalations. 每天练习再往下。
Soprano back then, Sui Lhasa Han found herself struggling hard between operatic singing and Kume performance. In throat singing, the singer produces a sustained pitch while modulating the sound by applying a slight and minutely controlled amount of tension to the larynx by engaging a pair of muscles lining the vocal tract. The sound produced is constricted and raspy relative to the open throat technique of choral singing. At the same time, it requires very careful controlling of the tension to the larynx. Otherwise, it will strain and even hurt the singer's throat. And for Sui Lhasa Han, the frustration she experienced as a Kume performer eventually turned to suffering when she lost her voice because of the hastening and over-practicing. But this tenacious Mongolian woman was not defeated by